Ladies and gentlemen, it is pretty fair to say that Genshin 6.0, the update that it's had, the addition of level 100, Nod-Krai, power creep, pay to win, all of that stuff, it is now coming to a head for a bunch of Hoyoverse creators. Because, ladies and gentlemen, all you gotta do is take a look at some of the public discourse and the public videos that have been dropped on the matter by some of the game's biggest CCs. So you can clearly see over here, I've got a creator like Doro44 on the screen. We're not actually going to be watching his vid because I heard it's a little bit shilly. That's just what I've heard down the grapevine. I've also taken a bit of a listen to it myself. And this video by Doro, my honest thoughts on the Genshin 6.0 update, which includes a gigantic section talking about the things that he doesn't like. The biggest section in the video, that's directly following his livestream react where he called it the best update ever. And we all know there's a lot of bad shit in 6.0. And the thing is, I imagine that posts like this in the Genshin Impact main subreddit, where you have over 7,500 people upvoting the take that the way that they're handling level 100 with the pay to win is absolutely horrible design. And the thing is, if you know how Reddit works, this is actually much higher than 7.5k total upvotes, because a downvote, right, is going to actually take that number down. And imagine the number of shills that have been present on this subreddit downvoting any type of critique that Hoyoverse could potentially get. That is how overwhelmingly negative the response is to the new mechanics that are getting put in. People don't really like pay to win in their gachas. Makes a ton of sense. And so creators, in my opinion, because of that public outrage, they seem to be putting out a lot more honest thought pieces on the 6.0 update as a whole, which is, you know, a little bit interesting, especially after seeing a crazy statement like the best update ever advertised in the front line. And so what I actually wanted to do was, of course, take a look at the other side of the Hoyo Shill coin, where I consider Doro to be much more of like an outwardly positive creator for the Genshin Impact scene, while Bran has been slowly, you know, kind of like molding the exterior, becoming more of like a neutral, objective sort of voice in the Genshin community. Because let's just be entirely honest here, there's not a lot of stuff to be positive about in Genshin 6.0. So why don't we go ahead, why don't we take a look at what his take is over here and break it all down.
All right, listen, it's been a couple of days now, and I think I've collected pretty much all of my thoughts in regards to the Nod-Krai special program that we had, the 6.0 extravaganza. And I've seen a lot of people on the internet with so many different opinions and thoughts that I thought, why not give you my overall experience, because a lot of people that watch my live stream reaction,
I heard Brad got an extraordinary amount of shit for his live stream react. I heard that he had like his own viewers, his own commenters, saying that he was like insufferable for critiquing the level 100 mechanic, talking about how much it could potentially cost. Yeah, there are a bunch of people in my chat saying it as well, and I imagine that this video is a direct address to that, right? Because let's just be entirely honest here. When you have cultivated your community on YouTube across 4+ years of Genshin Impact content, you're going to have a lot of Genshin Impact fans as a part of your regular commenters. And let's just be honest here. A lot of Genshin Impact fans are really stupid. So it's not really surprising.
Hammered home a couple of points, and I kind of want to just clear some space here, right? And let's talk about the important stuff. So the special program started off with what is quite possibly the best trailer we have ever had for Genshin Impact. I'm not gonna cap, dude. It is incredible. I'm so excited for the story of Nod-Krai.
He's got to start off with a little bit of glazing first. Just so you guys, just as a bit of like forewarning for you guys on my end, I haven't taken a look at that trailer yet, because I actually found out about the 6.0 update with the introduction of Masterless Stella Fortuna. My take was I don't even want to watch the trailer.
And let me just set the record straight here, bro. A lot of people seem to think that I am like getting ready to drop Genshin for some weird ass reason, because I don't like a couple of things about the game. Y'all couldn't be further from the fucking truth. It is kind of insane to me that that's even a thought that goes on in people's minds just because I don't like one character and because I think they missed the mark on a lot of the quality of life that was implemented. But
well, I mean, it shouldn't be that surprising given that I'm just gonna be real here, Brand, I feel like you gotta recognize at this point, brother man, that Genshin Impact is a large part of your fan base, Genshin Impact fans. And they kind of really do adopt a very extremist mentality that's incredibly stupid. If you critique one thing about Genshin Impact ever, you are public enemy number one. Who cares if you like other stuff in it? Who cares if you have positive stuff to say? You, with your words, dared to paint Genshin Impact in a negative light, and you dare to say that Genshin Impact wasn't doing something properly. Of course, right? The Hoyo Shills, Genshin's biggest defenders, your Flip Me ACs, they're gonna come in and try to paint you as public enemy number one. Because instead of actually addressing concerns, addressing issues, and then asking for fixes that would make the game better, well, all they want you to do is just sit down, not say a word, ignore the stuff that's bad, and then pretend that all the other stuff is really good. And that's really the thing. The ironic part is that I feel like Brand is making this video every other month. Not even every other month. He's making one like every month where he needs to like address the fact that he's making a minor critique about the game and how it's not actually the end of the world that he's doing that. I think he did it before for Stygian Onslaught. He made a public video addressing it. I'm pretty sure he did it some other time in the past. There's like a literal track record of him having to just like explain that there's something in the game that he doesn't like, and that's okay.
We're going to get onto that in a bit. The trailer looks incredible. The characters look phenomenal. Flynn's looks incredibly interesting. I think I'm probably going to end up pulling for Flynn's, to be honest. I don't know about Loma.
That's where we're going to have a difference of opinion. I think Flynn's kit looks like dog shit. He only has 2 attacks. His skill makes his normal attacks purple, and then he has a second activation of his skill that just uses his liberation. Or sorry, his ultimate. And then his ultimate just triggers his skills ultimate multiple times. Bro actually has 2 attacks.
Yeah, but quite possibly, I need to check out her kit in way more detail when she actually drops and see exactly what she feels like in different teams. Now,
Lauma is the character that has Lunar Bloom. So if you want to use your Dendro and Hydro characters again and not have them be useless in content, make sure you pull her too.
Let's get on to the other character. I know. I gave credit where credit was due in the live stream, just as a heads up. I don't hate this character like a lot of people think I do, and I'm not disgusted by the character. I just don't really vibe with the immature...
You don't want to play a child in your game. That's fine. I cannot believe that somebody has to defend this decision. This would be like a Wuthering Waves player saying that they don't want to fucking play Verena, and then people are like, what do you mean you don't want to play Verena? What are you trying to say by that, huh? It's like, that has never been a discussion in the Woo-Wah community because we're just not retarded about stuff like that. But like, you start getting into Genshin, and it's like, oh, you know what? I don't feel like playing a 2 foot tall child in my action role playing game. And then they start crashing out to the point where, again, the guy's got to play defense for a simple statement like that. I don't like playing little girls in an open world game.
Child characters. Klee's hilarious because she's basically this terrorist, right? But let's keep it a buck. The memes in the community go on and on and on. She's fish blasting, she's blowing up mountains, blowing up holes in the ground. She's hilarious. And listen, it's not even just because she's a child character. I just generally go for more mature looking characters, especially like the masculine dudes or the super elegant female characters. Like, I just like that kind of thing. And
I can't believe somebody has to say this. like this to me sounds like one of the most awful communities to ever potentially like have to like, I'm just gonna be honest here, like, this is an awful bed. This is an awful bed that he's sleeping in right now, like, to the point where brother has to defend himself like this. He's got to have this much justification.
Now, here's the big kicker, right? In 5 years, we have never had a Hydro Claymore, and I expected something entirely different than what we got for our first ever Hydro Claymore, and a lot of people seem to be very annoyed by the fact that I was disappointed that Ino was our first Hydro Claymore, and that's fine.
Wait, she is? I need to show y'all exactly what we're talking about over here, because I think one thing that you need, ladies and gentlemen, I think you need context for what we're talking about over here when we mean Ino. This is what Ino's kit fucking looks like.
Then, with her elemental burst, Ino summons a water-spraying mechanism that periodically deals hydro damage to Ino summons a water spray with her elemental as a gadget to launch forward, dealing AoE hydro damage to surrounding enemies. Then, with her elemental burst,
I didn't even know she was a claymore user. I had no idea she was a claymore user, as far as I'm concerned. She might as well use a fucking catalyst. Her skill is her hip checking an enemy, and the second is her summoning a floating device that does, like, an attack every couple of seconds. What? Hydro Claymore? I'm not... Yeah, the thing is, I didn't even know she was one.
And you could be annoyed by that, but it's not going to change the fact that I'm just disappointed, bro. Some people are like, oh, so you expect the company to just cater to what you want? No, but I'm still allowed to be disappointed. That's...
Why is somebody gotta justify why they think this is shit? You really gotta justify
then,
why you think this is shit?
Ino summons a water-spraying mechanism.
Most people would just look at this and then be like, did the guy say it's shit? That's a fair take. This is awful.
Entirely fine. I am slightly disappointed, but she's a cool character, bro. Her backstory seems really cool. She's a genius inventor, mechanic. It's awesome. She's a great character. Just not for me. I'm not pulling. She's free anyway, so it is what it is. The one thing about Ino that really does kind of grind my gears.
That was the craziest sponsor placement I've ever seen in my life.
Is a little bit, and I think a lot of people will understand this when I say it. She's the only Nod-Krai character so far that has been teased that has a vision and not a moon wheel that we know of, right? Which typically, when we get a free 4-star character at the beginning of a nation, we get those characters so that we can use the new gimmick. Let's just put it that way, right? Let's just think back here. For Sumeru, we got Kole because Dendro was just announced, and to trigger all of the Dendro reactions, you need, lo and behold, Dendro. So,
and then for Night Soul and Natland, you had Kachina as the free 4-star. And the mechanic of Natland is Lunar reactions, and Ino doesn't do anything for Lunar reactions. So it's like they broke the trend of like giving you a freebie character to use the new stuff, and they're also adding level 100. This is actually a very interesting detail. Her C6 supports Lunar charge. Oh, okay. Well, if true, then great. I guess you just gotta pull multiple copies of everybody.
We got Kole. For Fontaine, we got Lynette because Numa and Usia became a thing, right?
Fontaine had the best, like, locked mechanics because you didn't even need to, like, even think about Numa or Usia at all. You could pretend that they didn't exist and nothing would have functioned or really changed in your gameplay.
And the Traveler could activate it as well, and then Lynette also had that in her kit. For Natland, we got Kachina because one of the bosses required the Geo character to be able to climb up it and use the Night Soul stuff to be able to trigger boss mechanics and certain things in the overworld and stuff. So we got to use the gimmick. So far as we're aware, and what I'm taking from it is Ino has a vision, so we're not going to be able to use the Lunar versions of reactions with Ino. So it kind of...
I don't think that really matters too much because you can just view the Lunar reactions as they're just going to be better than all of the other ones. And essentially, well, guess what, guys? You're gonna have to basically pull all of the new Lunar reactions to make your older roster members usable. Because, well, you already seen with the mechanics that they put on bosses, some of them literally are not killable unless you trigger the Lunar reaction. So they have effectively locked off bosses and content behind pulling a limited character. Oh, wait, they've already done that before. Oh, wait, that was everything they did during Natland. I forgot. Because you're supposed to pull Skirk to be able to kill certain bosses. You're supposed to kill Mabawika, or it's supposed to, sorry, not kill Mabawika. You're supposed to pull Mabawika to be able to fight other bosses as well. You need Emily, you need Keniche for like that stupid lava thing. So yeah, never mind. That's just them recycling the best parts of Natland.
It just feels like a miss on that part for me personally in terms of the free 4-star character that we're getting. Y'all can let me know what you think in the comments about that because I'm very interested. A lot of people didn't seem to realize that during the live stream, to be honest, and before the live stream. So
it would be too strong if Ino gave Lunar charge. That would not give any people any reason to pull a Nefa or to pull Flynn's. So, yeah, that's why they're not going to do it.
Oh, let me know what you think about that, genuinely. And we got a lot of really cool stuff in this live stream, dude. Some people thought I was hating for no reason on everything. Brother, a lot of the stuff was absolutely incredible. The UGC stuff might be some of the coolest stuff in Genshin Impact that we have gotten or will be getting ever.
This entire video is straight up. I'm going to be real here. Brother man needs to play some damage control. Unfortunately, like, he's basically the take that I'm getting from this video is, I know I criticized a couple of things in this update. That doesn't mean that I hate everything. Look, here's all the stuff that I said was actually good in the update. If this is what the video is, and apparently this video is also the same exact thing, I think that the dam might have finally burst, ladies and gentlemen. I think that we're at the point where I think these Hoyo affiliated creators that have an overwhelming amount of their community built up from the most dire defenders of every single decision Hoyoverse makes. Ladies and gentlemen, I think that these creators honestly need to start making some decisions. Are they going to release this video every single month after every single update? Or are they going to go ahead and just go with the flow? Because this is the thing. They've been going with the flow for the longest time now. Every single time Genshin's done something to make the game worse, every single time that they've done something that, you know, fucks up the game balance or fucks up the economy or fucks up something like that, these creators in the past have been, like, you know, very silent on issues like that. And now that Wuthering Waves is out, now that there's competition, now that there's so many more new games on the horizon, now they're starting to show a bit more of this honest side, right? Critiquing the things that are actually bad because they want Genshin Impact to become better. They're giving honest critiques as some of the biggest voices in the Genshin space, and they are getting literally eaten alive by their own communities to the point where you can say shit like Nod-Krai is the best update ever. Then you have to make a video defending the fact that you critiqued one or two things about the update. How you can talk about how you loved a bunch of features like the UGC, the trailer, the story. And because you thought level 100 costing $900 is not that great for most players, you're going to get lambasted over that. You have to defend yourself from saying you're not that interested in playing this fucking unit.
No summons a water spraying mechanism.
Brother, at this point, this community can take absolutely no criticism. And this is the thing. You would imagine that criticism from some of their biggest creators who have some of the biggest voices would be kind of like heard and registered the most. But they're just getting attacked instead. And I'm going to be honest here, guys. I think that this is the straw. And I've said it before. I think that this is the straw that breaks the metaphorical camel's back. And hell, I think that these creators just have to get to a point where they take the kitty gloves off. They just say, fuck it. I'm done saying sorry for having a normal take. I'm done apologizing for just having a normal, reasonable, well thought out take. And I'm sorry, I'm done apologizing to fucking idiots that can't register that criticism is actually a way to improve the game. I think that they should find the motivation to be done walking on eggshells in their own community because they've done it for so many fucking years. And I have to imagine it has to get exhausting at this point, especially when you're seeing Genshin Impact get worse with every single update that's getting made to the game. The game has been on the most steep downhill trend imaginable since the end of version 4.0. They added Natlan. They got the exploration quality of life locked behind limited banners. They have the character kits being required to even fight the bosses. You have the rampant power creep with Mavuika Sitlali releasing as a team that literally did 30 to 70% more damage than every other team in the game. And now every single DPS that's coming out has to match those numbers, making the rest of the roster useless. That's all happened in the past year. The amount of bullshit this game has seen in the past year is insane. And now these creators, for daring to critique the absurdly awful track this game is going down, they have to apologize to their audience on a monthly basis and explain how making your critique doesn't mean you hate the game. You only make critiques if you want the game to be better. So then you have a better game to play later on. But, I mean, let's just be real here. This is the Hoyoverse community that you're dealing with. And, well, There's a reason why it's the worst community in gacha gaming. Possibly the worst community in gaming history. I'm not really sure. I'm just gonna be real here. I don't really see too much more of a point to be like sort of watching these vids. I already know what it's going to be, right? This is going to be the cycle. And that's why I was talking about the cycle breaking. The cycle is this. A new live stream comes out. There's some dog shit mechanic in the new live stream like Stygian Onslaught or a pay-to-win thing like level 100. Long-time Genshin creators will go in and say, I don't think that this is really that healthy for the game. I think that's a bit of an issue. This is really, you know, maybe this is something that's not going to work out that well. Then they're going to get brigaded by their own community. Guys, look, Brand didn't like everything in the live stream. We got to make sure that his dislike ratio is at like, we got to make sure it's at like 80%. Because that's what this is. This is like an 80% like ratio, guys. I have a higher like ratio on my Genshin video than Brand does. I have a higher like ratio on my video calling the 6.0 update a piece of dog shit. I have a higher like ratio than Brand does. And guess what? It's because he dared to critique the game with his community. And I'm just saying, like, at some point, it's got to get exhausting dealing with a bunch of stupid children like this. Hopefully we will see, like, less of these, like, public addresses and more of just, like, I'm done dealing with stupid children videos. Because it's got to get tiring after a while. I'm just gonna be real with you here. I guess this is the thing. I can't necessarily blame these creators either. Because this is hundreds of thousands of subscribers that are a bunch of idiots. And, well... going ahead and just, like, abandoning that part of your viewer base, that's a very rough thing to do as a content creator. So, I'm not gonna lie, this probably has to be one of the most difficult positions for a CC to be in. Your game is actively dying, actively becoming worse every single update, and if you dare critique any of the stuff being said, you dare say, maybe this isn't the best for the health of the game, then your own community turns against you because you just don't want the game to go down a shitty path. Could it be me? Couldn't imagine a community like that just go play WoWa instead. Let me know what you all thought about this. Peace.